Hello, this is Miss Bryant, your friendly counselor. I'm back with you again, and today we're going to do a social emotional learning lesson through literacy. Again, all the materials that I'm using today are from Cloud9 World, and I am a counselor, a school counselor in South Florida. And again, I'm representing not just the counselors in South Florida, but the counselors all over the world who are trying to reach out to their students and families to teach social emotional skills. So today, our social emotional skill that we're going to work on, that we're learning about, is patience. Patience. And again, these are materials. This book is from Cloud9 World. So most of us know already that patience is a skill that we all need to learn. In a way, for our little younger people, it's a way of waiting your turn. So this book is about how to wait your turn. Sometimes it's with your parents, sometimes it's with the teacher, sometimes it's with another family member, things like that. So again, this book is about patience. And a lot of times with things going on in the world, we have times that things happen in our world and we have to learn patience. Adults have to learn it. They have to wait their turn. It just can be something really good. It can be a field trip at school. It can be sometimes when we go on a family trip, maybe out of town or something like that. Or sometimes when we have to go to the grocery store, or we have to make other purchases, or to a restaurant, or sometimes when there are things happening in our environment and we have to be at home and we have to wait to listen to know when we can go out, when it's safe. All of these things are forms of waiting your turn, and they do require patience. So this is the book that we'll be using today from Cloud9 World about patience. Cloud9 World's book always uses an animal and a human character to teach their social emotional skills. So with patience, they use a hummingbird, a beautiful hummingbird. Hummingbird's name is Hannah, and the character's name is Alexander. Alexander was a happy boy, and he lived with his mom in California. And he and his mom were very close, and they did lots of fun things together. They went to the movies, they went to baseball games, they flew kites at nearby Golden State Park, and one day after school, Alexander asked his mom if she would take him and his best friend Christian for ice cream sometime soon. So, as we can see, Alexander is talking to his mom, and his mom is talking to him, and he made a request. He communicated with his mom, and so we'll see what she says. She says, "Sure, honey, I have a busy week at work, but I should be done with my project on Friday, and I'll take you and Christian for ice cream on Friday after work." "Awesome! Can we get banana splits?" "Sure, Alexander. Both you and Christian can get banana splits if you'd like," his mom said, and she smiled. "Do you promise?" Alexander asked. "Yes, I promise," his mom said. "I can't wait to tell Christian at school tomorrow." "Thanks, Mom," Alexander said as he hugged his mom tightly. So, Alexander and his mom have made plans. Again, Alexander, notice he said he has to wait until tomorrow because it's scheduled for tomorrow. So that's something that we have to already observe in our book, that he has to wait until the next day. Sometimes patience can be long, sometimes your wait is short, but it is so important that we always remember that we have to have patience. So, the next day at school, Christian was excited about Alexander's invitation for ice cream on Friday. "I guess I'll ask my mother's permission tonight," Christian said happily. So that night after dinner, Alexander's mom got a call from Christian's mom, and she hung up the phone, and she told Alexander that Christian's mom had asked them to join him. So she said he could go and get ice cream with us. I told her we would pick him up after I get home from work around 6. So now if you notice, there's another description and an opportunity in the story that he's going to have to wait. After means you may have to wait. It may not come right now, but you have to wait. So, that's great, replied Alexander. So that Friday after school, Alexander was so excited he could hardly wait for the school day to end. He looked at the clock anxiously. It seemed that time was moving slower than it normally did. And I think that's interesting because a lot of times when we have to show patience and we're waiting, it seems like it's taking forever and ever and ever. But again, that's patience. So if you're an adult and you have a child that seems to have difficulty waiting, sometimes you can give them a task to do. Sometimes maybe you can tell them to count. Maybe to count to a particular number depending on their age. Maybe you can have them sing a song softly as they're waiting. Maybe you could have them to play some type of game with you, a guessing game or an I Spy game while they're standing beside you and looking for something you can describe. Many times just younger children have a difficulty with explaining. If you say, well, wait 2 minutes, they don't understand time yet. So to them, it's 2 minutes is I looked away and now I'm looking back. That's 1 and 2. So we should be ready. And a lot of times when they're still learning patience, we have to remember the age of the child. And we have to remember that sometimes they need a task to do that they can do that's easy for them. Not something very hard, but something that they can do to help to pass the time. And then we can encourage them and discuss with them, boy, look at you being patient. I'm so proud of you. Once his mother came home from work, they got in the car and they were pulling out of the driveway when his mom's mobile phone rang. And she stopped the car before they got into the street. Okay, I understand. I'll get on it right away. No problem, sir, his mom said as she finished the phone call. Son, I'm sorry, but something has come up with this big project at work. That was my boss on the phone, and I have to get to the computer and get on the computer and work on this project right away. We will not be able to get ice cream today. I'll call Christian's mom right now and tell her that we have to reschedule our outing. I'm really sorry, Alexander. But Mom, you promised, complained Alexander. I promised to take you and Christian today, but my boss has asked me to do some work as an emergency, and I have to do it right away. We'll go another time soon. Maybe we can even go tomorrow, explained Mom. So, sometimes adults have unexpected things that happen, and it's out of their control. And so notice the adult apologized and the adult explained to the child what was going on. And of course, the child, being the child, was so disappointed and wasn't quite sure about that patience thing. So he was not happy. He was upset. But again, many times that's what children do. Because remember, we are teaching social emotional learning skills. So he has to learn that skill. So we have to try to be, as the adult, as supportive as we can while our children are learning about social emotional skills. To children who are watching this, I will say, many times adults are not happy that you have to wait either. But things happen that are out of their control, and so they have to wait, and then that might mean that you have to wait. But many times when adults promise you to do something and they aren't able to do it right when they promise, they're not happy about that. Notice Alexander's mom apologized to him. Alexander was furious. The car had barely stopped when Alexander threw the door open and ran straight to their backyard so he could be alone. And he sat under a splendid lemon tree that was in full bloom, and he started to cry. And after a few minutes, Alexander got up and stormed back into the house. "Mom, are you done yet?" Alexander yelled. Alexander's mom looked up from the computer. No, Alexander, I just started. Please let me work. I'll let you know when I'm finished. Alexander was both angry and frustrated. He stomped his feet. He walked away. Wham! He slammed the back door. Alexander was having a temper tantrum. A few more minutes passed and the door flew open again. Mom, are you done yet? Now Alexander had succeeded in making his mother angry. Lower your voice, young man. I'm not done. I just told you that I will tell you when I'm finished. Please stop interrupting me so I can finish my work sooner. So as we can see here, Alexander is very disappointed, and sometimes people on the outside look like they're angry, but when we look underneath that anger, they're really disappointed. And so Alexander was disappointed because he thought something was going to happen. And his mom didn't say no. She said reschedule, which is a way of saying wait, which is a way of saying, I need you to show patience, please. Notice Alexander, when he was upset, it's hard to show patience when you're angry. So part of social emotional learning is regulating, getting control of our feelings when things don't go our way. And then we can think better and think through some things. So notice Alexander said, Mom, are you finished yet? And then his mother was becoming somewhat irritated because he was interrupting her. She already told him what she had to do, that she had something that was not planned. So he needed to wait his turn. He needed to show some patience. Alexander was very upset and he was angry. So it was hard for him to show patience. And then he interrupted again. But notice, again, as adults, we have to be aware that it's not personally against us. Remember, the child is just saying, I'm disappointed, I'm angry, I don't know what to do with all of these feelings. And that's why we have to be careful in watching how we respond when our children are disappointed. So we have to let them know that I understand you're disappointed, but some behaviors are not acceptable. It's not acceptable to yell at me. It's not acceptable to have a tantrum. It's not acceptable to throw things, scream, and cry. You can feel angry. You can feel disappointed. Some of the things you can do when you feel angry, you can take a deep breath. You can count maybe to 10 if you can count. And then you can think about something that you have to wait on. And remember, we talked about patience. Maybe you can sing a song that you're familiar with and sing it, say maybe 2 or 3 times, a short song. If you're little and you know the ABC song, you can sing that. And again, calm yourself down and think about that you're angry, and think about you need to calm down, and think about patience and waiting. Remember again, adults are not happy when they have to change your plans either. Alexander's mom was working at her desk and he kept interrupting her. And every time you interrupt someone that's already doing something, that means it's going to take them longer to do it. So if you can be patient, use one of those strategies, taking a deep breath, counting to 10 slowly, maybe singing a familiar song 1 or 2 or even 3 times. That can help you wait, and then the time will pass. But that also helps you to develop patience. Alexander walked back to the garden and sat under the lemon tree again, and he began to cry. He then looked up and he saw a beautiful hummingbird trying to get some nectar out of a flower. Much to his astonishment or surprise, he heard its tiny little voice address him from above. Hi, my name is Hannah. What's wrong? Why are you crying? Alexander said, my mother said she was going to take my best friend and me for ice cream, but her boss called, and now she has to work. Alexander was upset. That's a tricky situation. You see, your mom's job is extremely important. I'm sure your mom did not mean to break the promise. Sometimes things happen that we cannot control. So you need to show some patience, Hannah explained. Alexander wasn't too sure he fully understood Hannah. What do you mean exactly? So Hannah saw he was disappointed. Sometimes it helps when we're angry or disappointed to talk to someone. That helps a lot. In this story, with patience, it's Hannah the hummingbird. But sometimes we can talk. And it's okay to cry if you're upset. But it's not okay to hurt anyone, to break anything, or to kick things or throw things. None of those things are okay when we're angry or upset or disappointed. But it's okay to go somewhere in a calm corner if you need to and just cry a little bit, and then to maybe do one of the strategies. Take a deep breath. Maybe take 4 or 5 deep breaths. Count slowly to 10. You can count down from 10 backwards. Or remember, we talked about singing a familiar song 3 times and then calming down as you wait your turn and develop patience. Well, Alexander, there is no use in getting upset about things we cannot control or those for which we have to wait. We just wait without complaining. Look at me. I'm a hummingbird, and I have to be very patient when I get hungry. Hummingbirds drink nectar from flowers, but each flower only has a little bit of nectar. So I have to hover over flowers just to get a few drops of nectar. I do not get upset though, because when I get upset, it only makes things worse, said Hannah. I thought that was pretty interesting that Hannah shared that many times we get upset and we throw things and we get frustrated and we act out and we think that's making things better, but actually it's not. It's making things a lot worse. So Hannah said sometimes there are things we cannot change and we have to just accept that. That doesn't mean we like it. We just say, I don't have any control over this. I can't change this. And then I have to try one of our strategies to stay calm and to do something different. Hannah continued, there's no use in being angry about things for which we have to wait. Eventually, all things come. We just have to remind ourselves of this. Take a deep breath and be happy, knowing that good things come to those who wait. I guess that waiting a little longer for ice cream isn't that bad after all, said a calmer Alexander. I wouldn't know. I've never eaten ice cream, Hannah said with a smile. This made Alexander laugh. It's quite wonderful. You should try it. Then the hummingbird was laughing too. Maybe I will, but do yourself a big favor and try to be patient and understanding with your mom. She loves you very much and works very hard to take care of you. Oh, so you see, talking to someone else. He was talking to Hannah, and she gave him maybe a little different point of view. And she said, remember, it's not always easy to wait, but it can be done. And then she asked Alexander, think about your mom and how she feels. Many times when we're waiting and we become impatient and we haven't finished growing into patience yet, we think about ourselves. But it's very, very important that while we are sitting there waiting, think about how the other person feels. Maybe they're not happy that they have to make you wait. Maybe things are out of control. So it's important for us to think about the other person. Okay, you are right. I'll go and tell her that it's fine that we didn't get ice cream today and that I love her, said Alexander. Great idea, said Hannah, and she flew off. until she was just a tiny green gold and blur far away. Then Alexander went inside, and at that very moment, his mom was shutting down the computer. "I'm done with my work, honey. I called Christian's mom, and she said that he can come and have ice cream with us tomorrow," Alexander's mom said. "I know that you didn't mean to break your promise, Mom. I'll try to be more patient from now on. I love you so much," Alexander replied. "Wow, where did that come from, Alexander? You know how much I love you too," his mom said. "A little birdie told me," he said with a grin. And they both laughed and hugged each other. So, you see the little birdie in the window, and that's Hannah. Notice how Alexander's mom was being patient with him. So sometimes adults have to be patient with children, or adults need to be patient with children when our children have not learned patience yet. And notice when Alexander took the time to talk to someone, Hannah the hummingbird, and she explained, think about somebody else's position, think about how they feel. He was able to calm himself down and to better understand. So that lets us know when we calm ourselves down, we can think things out. When we aren't calm and we're very, very angry, we can't think things through. And that makes things worse. That can make things worse. So, what exactly is patience? Cloud9 World says, patience is quietly hoping that things will turn out right. That means you're not complaining and, "Are you done yet? Are you finished yet? Are we there yet? Oh, come on, come on." That's not patience. That's the opposite. That's called impatience. But we want to be patient. We want to not complain while we're waiting. And it also says you are tolerant, and that means you try to understand things from the other person's point of view, and you understand that some things in life might be difficult. They're not going to always be easy, and that's why they require patience. And then it means you set your sight on a future goal and you work hard to achieve it. So all things don't come right away. All things don't come tomorrow. Some things come a week from now, 2 weeks from now, months from now. Sometimes you're waiting for different things to happen. Maybe to go back to school, maybe to go to the store, maybe to visit a friend, maybe like Alexander, to go somewhere with a friend. You're waiting. But again, if you do it with patience, it's so much easier. How do you know that you're showing patience? Well, you are showing patience when you take time to listen to the needs of others. Remember when Hannah the hummingbird said, think about your mother, think about what she needs, how she feels. And Alexander's mother really needed him to not disturb her, to let her finish, and to wait patiently so she could get to him as soon as possible. Again, you show patience when you don't keep interrupting, asking your parent, "Are you there yet? Are you finished? Are we going to go now? Can we do it today?" We have to get better about that. And then you show patience when you're taking your turn at a game or a sport. And when you sit quietly, let's say when you go to the doctor's office or the dentist's office, and you have to wait and you sit quietly until you hear them call you. Also, patience is when you take extra time to help a friend who's having trouble, sometimes with schoolwork, and they get frustrated and they says, "Oh, this is taking too long and this is taking," and you say, "Oh, that's okay. Let's just calm down and wait together." So that can help. Or you're in the cafeteria, in line at school, and you're waiting your turn. And lastly, you can show patience when you work hard at school or in a sport. And so you take the time to work hard, knowing that everything isn't going to happen right away, but it will happen with time and with patience. And again, we thank Cloud9 World for our social emotional lesson on patience. Again, this is Miss Bryant, your friendly counselor from South Florida, representing counselors all around the world, school counselors. We are working hard with others to teach social emotional learning skills. Have a great day. See you soon with another opportunity to learn social emotional skills through the the Cloud9 World curriculum. Have a great day.